developed into a Nibzo, Queen's Indian, and young Erdogmus, just 14 years old, plays defending.
Of course, as we've seen, but this is a safer option, so all the top players are able to play this move because they might need to go solid. You've got the Berlin, you've got the Petrov, and you've got the Raw Lopez. But if the players on the black side are in more ambitious mode, then they need something which has a bit more bite to it, and they pretty much all have the Sicilian as their other option. And the Sicilian leads to sharper games, it leads to tactical encounters. I mean, obviously it's very well analysed, but if you really need to win, then it is considered that the Sicilian is one of the best choices with the black pieces to do that, because you get a change of pawn structure and you get very exciting games. Now, knight to f3 was played, and Pragg played knight to c6, so this is hinting at the Srezhnikov. And now there are two main moves, the move that was played and the open Sicilian with d4. Now, I don't know if it's a problem, but it seemed to be a trend like 10-20 years ago that against knight c6, players on the white side stopped playing this as regularly, and I think the reason was the Srezhnikov. And the Srezhnikov with e5, I might be wrong, but that was my guess.
Yeah, well, Magnus was employing it.
Magnus was employing it, and even
his
before
match
him
against Fabiano.
And when I was talking to some of the top players, they're basically saying that they just thought the Srezhnikov was a good way, to equalise, and there wasn't really any way that white could cause many problems. Now, I don't know what the modern state of theory is, but that's why a lot of players started turning to bishop b5, just to avoid the heavy theory in the Srezhnikov. Now, there's a number of moves here, and e6 is one of those main moves, and white's idea is to double the pawns, and now b takes as one of the main response. And again, there are a number of options here, and b3 makes logical sense to get the bishop on a nice diagonal. And the next move is something I haven't seen. It must be a very rare idea, and I love seeing rare ideas. e5, Yogi, is that a move you know of? Or?
Yeah, I've kind of vaguely seen it, but vaguely. I mean, I've seen knight e7 as more standard, f6, I've seen d6 preparing, e5, not e5 directly, so I can see that has been played, e5, but okay, it's been played by Boris Gelfand, also, who else has played there? I think Nikita Meshkovs, I think that's his name, and yeah, I mean, it hasn't been tried so much at top level, but it's definitely a move, and knight takes e5 was the response, so that kind of forces black's hand, and that's simply to go queen to e7.
Yeah, if you don't take this pawn, I think it is a good strategy, because you want to block this bishop out, so you put a pawn in the way of that bishop to restrict its range. So knight takes e5 is key, and now queen e7, because black has to try with the pawn back. And interesting position. So what now should white do? I guess white can either move the knight or defend the knight.
has the worst endgame. He's a pawn down, and white has an outside a pawn.
4 moves to make until tie and control, and Yagiz Kaan starting to play brilliant chess. He played probably the best game of the day yesterday. He's only 14 years old. He's going to be some player. Well, he is some player already, but he's going to be, you know, he can only get better. And we see his normal pose there, the death sway. Only when he's winning does he do the death sway. Pragg is his victim today. Look, Pragg's biggest supporter is there as well with the Pragg top behind him.
Yes.
The rook comes in. And it's just a bit tricky because it's a pawn up for white and it's an outside pass pawn. So how dangerous is this? I'm not sure. But it's a 2-result game. It's either Yagiz can win or a draw. So yeah.
Well, he's got decision now. Does he take that bishop, go into a pure rook and pawn endgame?
I like this move.
This one's very nice, targeting a weak pawn.
And also you've got ideas of bringing the rook. If you can swap the rooks off, it probably makes the task a bit easier. So Pragg gets his rook to blockade the pass pawn.
They're on move 37.
And now rook c3, I expect, because you don't want to swap too many pawns off.
Again, the decision is always there. You know, do you take the bishop and then take on c6 and go into that particular endgame? And Pragg, he's not giving his opponent another chance. The bishop goes all the way back. I think maybe he could have done that, Simon. Taken the bishop, taken the c pawn.